Special forces are virtually the toughest. They are the creme de la creme of the armed forces. They are always small in number, and they are meant to do all the mission impossibles. Jump off planes, jump into the seas. Get into buildings, do all the superhuman things that you think people can do. You expect special forces to do. Now, every person in the special forces has to be a super specialist in multiple domains. He or she should be capable of wielding the weapon that good, but also be superbly physically fit to run hundreds of kilometers, to be able to have strong endurance and fortitude to stay in different lands for long times, live off the land, as they say. They are often left by themselves. Now, special forces are also often operate behind the enemy lines during or before the war, which had its own, this one if you are caught or if you are, and they are meant to do the most daring jobs. Destroy an aircraft in a helicopter pen, destroy shipping like we said of Bangladesh, in that happened. So you need several multiple attributes in the physical and mental domain, which requires you to have excellent skills, mental abilities, physical abilities. And traditionally over a period of time, it's mostly been men who have been doing this. Is this to suggest that women may not be or would not be? I'm not too sure. I don't have analysis or studies, and unlike other surveys or social science studies, the only way you can prove things in war is by actual performance. But that would require an actual war, which nobody would want, no? But I'm sure history there have been enough women commandos and special forces. But because it demands the highest level of skills and all that, I think a lot of countries took a conscious decision that for a long time, that even while allowing women or inducting women into other branches, other streams, other things, the special forces will remain the last bastion, so to say. For the reason, it's not some chauvinism or not some desire to keep. It was simply genuine concerns and doubts about whether those standards would be met by women. And there are some places and some you can't dilute standards. You can have a separate cricket team, you can have separate tennis standard, but war is fought between countries and people. War, you can't have separate standards, right? So then what happens? So you inducted them in lots of other things, but you kept this away. So probably organically and naturally at some point of time it may have been suggested that, look, is it a good time to now try and experiment, considering that they are doing well in other things? And then they may have opened special forces to that. Like I said, I am not aware of the Indian Navy having said it would open. If they have, I am sure it would have been a very considered decision. But like you agree and say, only it is when people meet those standards then we even. And I must tell you that even amongst men, Marine Commando Special Forces go through several levels. You have to first be a diver as far as the Navy is concerned. Diving itself is a bloody Herculean course. And you need to have a lot of, not just about swimming, but swimming tens of miles, about being underwater for a long time, physical endurance, ear, blood pressure, ability to handle lots of things. Then having become a diver, you become a deep sea diver, because normally divers are meant for within harbor checks, this, that. Then you become a commando who can jump off planes and things like that, which again is no mean thing. And it's not like doing 1 or 2 para jumps with assisted, this one which is available for, say, most people know that zindagi na milegi dobara kind of experience, but doing para jumping from helicopters or planes in tough terrains at night in battlefield conditions, naval commandos do para jumps into the sea. So you don't even land on terra firma. From there you have to land in such a way, then someone amongst them would be having inflatable boats, or you land close to a harbor or ship, and you get, if you land far off, if you're not picked, you got so then you got to have special skills, bomb disposal, explosive ordnance disposal, especially for city, this one. I mean, there are different skills need to be a commando in a crowded city place like a hotel, and from being a commando in a jungle. Completely different set of skills. In jungles you might need to go through grass, crawl through grass, climb this one, encounter wild animals, go through snakes. In a hotel or urban infrastructure, you will need to go through buildings, rappel through walls, do this. They're completely different skills, right? So you need to build up those individual skills. And in none of these can you accept any dilution. Which is why at every stage the attrition rate is high. Ask the diving school, that's why they have 25-30% who go through only.
I was once told when I was at the that's the highest attrition rate in the
Yes, highest attrition. And even after you are there, it's not permanent. Every year you got to be fit, which means your discipline, your rigor, your diet, what you eat, what you drink, everything is monitored. And you can be at peak only for a few years. After that you got to follow it and come back to your other arms or do more management oriented things. So all these make it difficult. I'm not suggesting it's impossible, I'm not suggesting, but I'm suggesting that this is one area where armed forces will tread conservatively and will not accept dilution of standards. So if those two conditions can be met, then possibly. Of course there are other, like we said, there are certain also what are called social objections, in terms of fact that people believe that women caught behind enemy lines as POWs and all may face more abuse than men might do. There is also many women, because these peak years you usually stay between 20 to 35. Now suppose they are your childbearing years or something like that. If you are a naval officer, normal naval officer, this one you can still attend to your naval. Suppose you are a logistics officer or an air traffic control officer, you can attend to your those personal requirements and still continue to be, whereas you can't do that if you're a commando, which means a huge amount of sacrifice. Now it is possible that many women would get into there and then would rethink their choices. Men are that way more stupid, so they're there in that one, no? So because men think linearly, so it's okay. So all these, I think a combination of these factors makes it, I'm not saying impossible, but I'm saying the horizon is not as close as you think it is.